Hi, Gabi. How you doing? All right, let's go and take a look. You've got two iterations here. Now, one of the things that including two iterations says to me that and I first of all, let me clarify this. I don't want to sound discouraging, okay, but let me just describe what I'm experiencing here. Last week, you talked about this iteration. We talked about the connotative meaning of this configuration right here. And remember, for those of you who are listening and following along here, the discussion was basically that this is kind of a cool thing right here because it's kind of maze-like. And Barack Obama, being the first African-American president of the United States, had quite a journey in front of him, almost a maze-like journey, uncharted territory, so to speak. So it wasn't a mapped-out journey. It was a matter of trial and error, kind of a maze, all right? So no direct path, but learning as you go along. And I thought that was represented quite nicely right through here. This is almost like a maze-like configuration here. And I thought that was really effective in creating this connotation that his presidency was kind of a series of paths, which path to take, turning around, going back, heading forward, and based on the fact that there's no model for him to roll his presidency up from other than the obvious previous presidents, none of which fell into his particular demographic. I hope that makes sense. That said, introducing the second typographic composition here, to me, seems like arbitrary choices. Okay, so we've established meaning here, but what is the meaning here other than the A playing a double role here, which this isn't really an A. I don't think that there's a lot of meaning behind this. One of the most important things about about this project is for students to understand not only typographically, but in your compositions and in all of your design work, everything you put on that page should have some sort of meaning. Okay, so, basically placing this here, is there a reason for this? Here there's a reason, right? It's part of that kind of maze configuration. So everything here makes sense. Here we've got this underline. What does it mean? What's its relationship here? What are you trying to say connotatively? What message are you trying to say here? Okay, do you see what I'm saying? Do you see why it seems like adding a second iteration here is almost based on arbitrary choices as opposed to choices that have meaning behind them? And I think that's a really important consideration. That said, I'm going to continue with this piece here because I think it's very, very effective. I also think that that the meaning here is established in a in a good way. Let's talk about this. All right, so this works, right? Barack Obama, this works. Now, one of the things that we're getting a little bit of optical illusion here, and this is based on overshoot and what we've learned about overshoot. Right now, based on this configuration, the C and the K look smaller than the B, A, and R. Right? They do, and one of the reasons is because they're not underlined. So what I would recommend doing is keeping the cap line the same, but increasing the size of the C and K just a little bit to accommodate for that optical illusion, making the C and K look smaller than the B, A, R, and A. Okay? Just increase that a little bit. All right. The next thing I would do, and again, this is based on the illusions of the spatial relationships and some of the open space and negative space in this typographic composition, is I would take the O and the B and move it a little closer, because this space right here is indicating a break between OB and MA. All right, so there's the A is not really quite being activated in terms of this type of fill in the blank type thing that the Gestalt theory dictates, right? So, but the space right now is just too great. I would take the O and B and just move it a little bit closer, just a little bit closer, so we don't have that big space right there. The viewer will get it. The viewer will get it. I promise you. The next thing I'm seeing is that this hope for better, I think it's a great tagline. I think it's fantastic. However, trying to fit it in here is create. It's just too small. It's too small. And one of the reasons that we take a look at size relationships is the fact that this is a poster. What we know about posters is they're intended to be looked at a distance. Therefore, when we back out of this, that's going to disappear. And I can show you that. Actually, there's no PDF here, so I can't show you that. But if you were to open this and zoom out, you'll see that this is going to start really disappearing at a distance. Therefore, I recommend you take that hope for better and place it somewhere else in the composition. I'm going to leave that part up to you. Okay, so those are my recommendations, and yeah, and please let me know. It's important to me that my comments make sense. Oh, another thing here is this illustration right here. Remember, that's not allowed unless it's incorporated in your typography via simultaneity, visual transformation, visual substitution, visual exaggeration, or visual correspondence. The placement of a illustration is not permitted in the front of the poster. Remember. Okay, so as I said, it's really important my comments make sense to you. So if you have any questions at all, or please let me know and clarify that you understand my reasoning based on the critique that I've just delivered. Okay, good job, Gabrielle. Thank you.